Hey guys, what's up, and thanks for joining my channel today. Today I am going to be showing you how to make this number 2 prop that I made for a 2-year-old's photo shoot, her birthday photo shoot. It is a 3 by 2 feet prop that can be used for birthday parties, weddings, photo shoots, things of that nature. And as you can see, it is covered in flowers, but you can also make this using balloons as a hollow one. So let's get right to it. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to go over our supplies. You will need 3 big styrofoam whiteboards, blackboards, colorful boards. It doesn't matter, just 3 big boards. I got these boards from Hobby Lobby. Walmart also has them, but they don't have them this big. Hobby Lobbies are way bigger. I don't really know how big they are because I didn't take the measurements before I started to cut, but just know Hobby Lobby does have them bigger. Also, I have this number 2 that I got printed out at Office Max, and it's just to trace. I also use this styrofoam cutter that I got off of Amazon. It comes with a few different parts that you can use. And then I also got these Styrofoam Flowers from Amazon as well. They come in packs of 30. I got 5 packs and I used every last one of them. So the flowers do have the stems on them, the wire sticks, and I was gonna just poke them through, but it didn't work out that way. So I did end up removing those later on, and they're very easy to remove. But yeah, get those off of Amazon, packs of 30. They do have bigger packs as well. They just cost a little more. So first and foremost, we're gonna position our traceable number 2, and we're just gonna trace it on that white board. And it doesn't really have to be precise. As you can see, I'm going past the bottom edges because I do want it to be just a little taller than what I got printed out. I got, they didn't have a 3-foot option to get printed out at Office Max. So I had to do the 2 foot by 2 foot. So I did have to off trace it and kind of go above it and below it a little more just so that it can be 3 foot. And I think that's actually what the board is. The styrofoam whiteboard that I have is a 3 by 3 foot because the prop at the end measured 3 feet. So like I said, we're going to just trace it, and it does not have to be precise because you can always go back and erase and retrace and, you know, just figure it out from there. Next, after tracing your number 2 or letter, number, whatever you're doing, I'm going to go ahead and get my styrofoam cutter, and I am going to turn it on, let it heat up a little bit, and it does go straight through the styrofoam. It's a very good cutter. It does tend to burn a little. You won't smell it, or it doesn't like catch on fire or anything like that. So if you do see like dark burn marks, don't worry about it. It's completely fine. So we're just going to poke it through our styrofoam and then start cutting it like a knife all the way to the edge of that number 2. As you can see, it does start to smoke, but like I said before, we're not going to worry about that. It is completely fine. It's paper on heat, so of course it's gonna burn a little bit and smoke a little bit, but that's exactly what it's supposed to do, so don't worry about it at all. So here, guys, to just go around the edges of the number 2 where it gets a little curvy, I did switch from the straight head of the styrofoam cutter to the wired one because it is easier to go around the edges with this one. You can curve it and just cut through it with the curves of the number or the letter that you're using. And as you can see, the side parts that I have from the pieces that I cut before, I have those set aside. I'm not throwing those away because I am going to use those later on. So here I'm just going to cut the rest of the number with this wired piece, and I'm going to speed it up so you guys can see that. Okay guys, here's my finished cut out of the number 2 after cutting all that excess out. We're just going to cut the other one. We are going to cut 2 of the same one, same way. Do not flip and cut the opposite way. We want these both to be the same way. So we're going to get our other board and cut out a replica of this one. And then I'll come back after I cut that one out. Now that we have both of our number 2s cut out, we're going to get our hot glue gun out and we're going to get those extra pieces of cardboard we had. And we're going to start gluing those pieces on the bottom piece of our number 2 to get them both to stick together and stand. That's how we're going to get it to stand up. We're going to glue to the bottom and then we're going to glue our second piece onto the top. And then we're going to go around the curves as well. Guys, for your shorter pieces, like your edges, the back side of the number 2, you can go ahead and cut off a piece of small cardboard. Just measure it out, cut off your small piece and glue it. I didn't use one long piece of cardboard and then just curve it because it was a little more difficult to do it like that. It is easier if you just cut off that piece for that little edge and then cut off another piece for your longer part right there, and just do it like piece by piece. And then once you get to the curved part of the top of the 2, use just one piece of long cardboard. So now that I've gotten most of my 2 covered and glued together, I'm gonna go underneath and do this last part. But I wanted to show you guys a little trick of how easy it can be to go around that curve. And if you just get a piece of your cardboard that you're going to use, of course, cut it down because I'm not going to use it while it's this thick. I'm going to cut it to get a good measurement and make it skinnier. And then I'm going to break it. And it like kind of folds on its own. It kind of breaks on its own, like the inside of whatever's inside of this styrofoam. And I'm going to just break it down and fold it. So that way when I'm going under there to glue it together, it bends a lot easier and it makes the job a lot easier. This takes a lot of time away from having to glue all these pieces together. It makes it less time consuming and a lot easier to fold. So that's just that trick that I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to go ahead and finish the inside of this number 2 and then get back. Okay, so now that we have our entire number 2 standing up and glued together, I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping my flowers to put together. And as you can see, I left that little piece of the underneath the 2 open. I didn't put styrofoam there because I just made it easier for them to carry. Like I said before, it was a little harder for me to be able to poke those through, so I just took off the stems and they come off very easily. I'm going to apply a very good amount of hot glue onto the bottom of the flower, and then I'm going to stick it on. And like I said, you want to apply a very good amount so that they don't pop off. And when we're sticking these on, we want to stick them close together so that there isn't any spaces in between. If you don't want a messy finish, or if you don't mind getting your living room carpet messy, or if you do mind, I would suggest doing this part somewhere that you don't mind getting messy, or somewhere easier to clean, because that styrofoam, when you're pulling those stems out, gets everywhere. And it did take a while for me to vacuum it up. So I wouldn't suggest to do this on carpet. I lost my crafting room. I had another baby, so he took over our crafting room that we have here. So this was the only place that I could do it. But anyway, we're going to stick these flowers super close together so that there isn't any spaces. And as you can see, when it gets to the edge, there's not much space, but I squeeze it in there anyway so that they look really good once it's finished and you don't see any spaces, you don't see any of that white, because if you see that white when you take pictures, it won't look very nice and neat. So we're going to go ahead and finish lining these up, and then I'll come back. Okay guys, so now that we're done lining the number 2 with the flowers, we're gonna go on the inside and start placing those on the inside. We're gonna add a little more glue around the flower at the bottom, just because they need to stick to the ones in front and the ones behind them so that they don't pop off, since we are putting them so close together. And don't worry if you mess up. Feel free to pull it right on up. It might look a little messy at the bottom, but as long as the top's looking good, it really doesn't matter. And not only am I filling it in, but I'm also putting an extra layer out on the outside underneath the corners, just so that it looks good. So guys, as we're finishing up the bottom of the inside of the 2, I'm gonna show you what I meant by filling it out on the outside so that it can look fluffier and fuller. So here guys is what I mean by the outside around the edges of the 2. I did this around the entire 2, and I made these close together as well, just so that it can look fluffier, and when the client takes the pictures, you can't see any of the white. It's gonna look very good, and it's gonna make it pop, and I'll come back with the finished product. Okay guys, here is my finished product. I love the way it turned out. My client loved the way it turned out, and it looked amazing in pictures. I did add little rhinestones here and there, just sporadically out the 2 at the client's request. So that's it guys. Thanks for joining me. I hope you like this project. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below to join me for my next projects. Thanks. Bye.